Okay, good afternoon. Welcome everyone to Market Watch Group Weekly Market Wrap. My name is Scott. I'll be your host, as always. Consider turning down video settings or using a faster. I don't know what that means. Okay. As always, it's educational, illustrative purposes only. We don't give recommendations to buy or sell any security or financial product. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. Today, we're going to look at the market analysis. We're going to take a quick peek at the market posture preview. Mindset for trades. Yeah, I'll probably carry a couple things over the weekend. What to look for next week. We'll look through the opportunity list. Talk about section 6. You should be fully logging trades now. If you are, then when we go next week to section 7, then the analytical aspect is done for you. And it's just a matter of processing the numbers and being like, okay, what am I learning from this? What can I do better in order to reduce this or increase that, or, right? Connect those observations to new trading rules. Okay, there is somebody in. Who's in? Someone's in with me in Circle. Okay, Ray's with me in Circle. So I think somehow there was an ability to get to either the Circle room or to the Zoom room. I don't know why that is. I will go take a look and make sure that I account for that going forward. So apologies if anyone had any weird issues getting in. Bounce back. I don't know. It's interesting. I love the platform. It's a good platform. But there are some issues with, like, when you save things, does it connect it to this and going forward, or you have to do it manually one at a time? This weird little, they're pretty new. I'm sure they're working on the product. Hopefully they're working on the product. Let's talk about today. So what do we know? Oh, I didn't realize there was a yelling match, leaving the mineral rights deal in limbo. It was ugly. I'm going to have to go watch that. Not proud. Ugh, okay. S&P 500's up 2/3. Dow's up 0.6. NASDAQ about the same. Russell only about 0.25%. Oil is down a little. Gold is down a little. Clash adds to market nervousness, but it recovered. This was what we were looking for. Can we go into the week with some expectation of buyers trying to see what's going on here? So what else? Well, let's jump to the good news then, because that is not great news. And income, nice jump in income in January. Personal spending, we already saw on the Yahoo News, personal spending dropped, which is, I'll tell you what, if you want inflation to come down, you need people to stop spending, and that certainly will help if people's confidence in the economy, but that also is hurtful on other fronts. So a little bit of a balance. PCE came in as expected across the board. 2.6 came to 2.5. It wasn't like, I saw a couple of things earlier where like it came down the lowest amount. It was as expected. We've been looking at those numbers. So that's why there wasn't a huge reaction to it, because it's like, well, we expected it to do that. We expected 2.9 to come down to 2.6 and 2.6 to come to 2.5. That was already expected, and we got it, and that's good. Is that enough for the Fed? Let's take a quick little gander. I don't think we're going to I don't think we're going to trade. I'd be surprised. Maybe. I don't think so. Um, okay, so I've got way more people in Zoom than I do in Circle. So I got to figure out what the hell happened today. Next Fed meeting is now 18 days away. And again, really no expectation, of course. Then we continue on to the next meeting after that, approximately 6 weeks later, 6 to 7 weeks later, in May. A decent jump there, 67 against, 32 for some measure, whether it's a quarter or a half. I was in June, but I've moved to July. But June is now a preponderance. In fact, you can see after today, with the inflation coming down like that, it jumped pretty significantly. I'm going to hold in July just for a little longer. I'm happy to shift and be like, all right, June it is. June is still going to be a long ways away, and we're going to feel it in the meantime, especially as concerns, if tariffs get implemented, what progress is made may be reversed by the time we get closer to these dates out here. But as of now it's shifted to June. So there you go. All right. Let's go through a few things. TPR never got in, came down, never broke. Looking for the hiccup. I'm holding. I think it looks okay. You know, things just got a little shaken, but overall, I look for the trend to hold. I look for the momentum to bounce. I'm still bullish there. That was a new one. And Meta hammered, but overall, it held the support level in this situation. If you had an intraday stop, you might have gotten picked off. If you're moving around more with end of day closures in a more volatile market, you'll still be possibly in and possibly saying to yourself, I'm not sure if I want to carry this through the weekend. It is still holding the 50, still holding support. We're still oversold. We're still seeing signs. A lot of uncertainty in our market right now. So give me a sense. Are you in bullish trades? Are you going to hold those bullish trades? Are you in bearish trades or hedge trades? Are you going to hold those? Is your risk at normal levels, less than normal levels, a lot less than normal levels? I can't imagine anyone has more than normal levels of risk. Maybe. Put it out there. Let's get a nice little temperature check as we go through and see, what's going on. In the meantime, let's go back and look at next week's economic calendar. Holding 3 bullish trades. Got it. Understood. I concur. Trimmed some MMM for some gains. Nice. Okay. Okay, next week. Manufacturing spending. Nothing really there on day 1 on Monday. Day 2, a couple of minor feds. Nothing really there. Meta and Cisco holding. Nice. Wednesday, ADP. Okay, yeah, first week. I didn't even realize. First week of the month. So obviously it's an employment month. Although where's the new jobs? Or the job openings. I mean, isn't that usually Tuesday, job openings? I believe it is. Okay, so no, I would also expect job openings maybe to be in here. I don't see it anywhere else. What else do we have? Wednesday has the base book. The ADP from private payrolls and the base book. Again, I just don't have a lot of expectations from the Fed for the next couple of months. So I don't really think the market's going to get much from that. Maybe ADP. Added to Meta on the dip. Thoughts? It's strong stock. Communication Services has maintained a good position. Yeah. Okay. So I'm, as long as you're comfortable with the risk you have carried forward. Thursday, what do we have? Jobless claim. So a few people worried about the jobless claim. They're like, right? We went from 225 to 242. We don't worry about this from week to week. This would have to get above 250, right? It would have to kind of get to like 260 or so. And it would have to be there for 3 weeks in a row because there's always little like blips where it's like 260 and then it drops right back down. 240, just because it's higher than it's been, that's not a concern for us yet. So like, just everybody take a breath. Relax. We're okay here. If it does it a couple of times in a row, then maybe, right? Then maybe. Durable good orders were up. GDP came in at 2.3 this year or this week. So yeah, I mean, really pretty decent news economically speaking. And then we have next week we have the jobs report and unemployment rate. We're at 4%. Great number still, 143. We'll see what we get there. I don't know what the expectation is. A bunch of Fed speak on Friday. Maybe in here, especially with Jer Bear down here speaking, maybe in there could be some measure of insight into the thought process going forward. All right, let's get to the watch list because maybe there is a trade. Who knows? Let's start to get that short list built for next week, if there's going to be one. Short list, that is. Not a next week. Definitely going to be a next week. We love Apple. I love Apple. Nice hammer pattern. Look at it. It's oversold. So kind of a seller capitulation. Buyers come back in, holding at the 50. Would I trade a confirmation coming out of this? Yeah. What would that look like? I don't think I need it to come all the way up here, but maybe just a bit more, right? I'll come up with some measure of where do I, somewhere in that vein. And then I would say I'll be looking for something like that. So probably up at that old high. Yeah. That looks like a reasonable setup for going into next week. Am I wrong? Hammer out that bottom right there. If you're a candle person. Anybody not a candle person, let me know. It's so quiet today, you guys. You're making me feel like I'm monologuing. Amazon held, but Amazon for me is already not in a tradable position. I'm not thinking, hey, am I trying to call the bottom there? No, I'm waiting for this to break, and then I'm going to wait for it to pull back, and then I'll, something like this. Boop, boom, bam. That's the trade I want right there. Now you might think, well, look, you had that first move. Remember that first move was motivated by earnings. So you might not get that. It might just pop up here to 220 and then pull back and then we have it. So, I mean, look, if you're feeling like, hey, I'm going to call the bottom, have a go, I guess. If you're a counter trend guy, girl, lady. It's a bit choppy for me. Wait for the break, wait for the pullback. Better probability of success. Baba. Okay, maybe. Bank of America. Look at you popping out of this. That's enough. I'm not looking for that as a breakout trade. I'm saying to myself, whatever this is done now, it may go a bit further and then start to stall out and then pull back, and then that pullback is my go. That's it. Press, good to see you. BX hasn't done enough yet. Caterpillar hasn't done enough yet. Right? So if you're like, oh, are we trying to see if that's the bottom? Just like I wasn't trying to call this bottom. or this bottom. I'm also not trying to call these bottoms yet either. Right? So if I were to wait for this, and then I'm a happy person again. Not enough. Not enough. You can see there's like signs of maybe stabilization. And if you were thinking to yourself, hey, do I want to try for that? I think our posture is going to drop from a 4 to a 3. So the context of the market is not improving for us right now. It's regressing right now. So then that leads you to have additional context to answer the question, do you feel like trying to call the bottoms on these things right now? I mean, if you're looking for a new bullish trade, then maybe one or two you would possibly, but we've all said, or at least I've said, I believe that the flavor of the week right now is cautionary. We were patient at one point and just didn't get what we were looking for. It just got a little worse. Now what? Well, we have to be a little more cautious if it's gotten a little worse. Here is the... Where's my mouse? There it is. Here's the Merc. Still kind of flat. Cisco, same thing. There's support. Support is holding. I did not. I was looking for it there, but I would definitely look for this to hiccup. Right? Go from here. Is it still a valid setup? Yes. So is it valid to hold? Yes. My thought process. Anyone else have a trade you're in that you're thinking, do I hold? What am I doing with this? Delta's in a consolidation. Just kind of waiting for that to recover. Oh, did you guys see that article about it said American exceptionalism? And it was like, since the election, the Hang Seng, the Hong Kong market, is up 18%. The European market's up 8%. The Mexican market's up 7%. And our market is 0. Come on. Which, point of fact, we on Sunday maybe are going to add some international ETFs. If they're going to do better, let's trade them. Yeah, if there's a better sense of momentum and if some ETFs, some international ETFs with some momentum, okay. Duke still looks a little overbought, waiting for a pullback. Fastenal. So Fastenal, this isn't a pennant. This is a symmetrical triangle, right? Highs are getting lower, lows are getting higher. Until this breaks out, right? Now, if you were anticipatory, if you were a little more bullish in your posture, you might look at that and say, hey, I think I'm going to try for this. But right now, I'm not feeling that. FHN, we said that was a viable one. I thought about that for an alert. Didn't put the alert on, but that's a nice little move today, 2%. Flex, nope. Fox, close. Let's put this on an early list for next week. This little flag pattern. This one was enormous, but it got a little bit of a boost. From earnings. But even before earnings, it had a nice little pop. Yeah, what am I looking for? The next poll in this little parade of flags. Okay, GBTC, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got some nervousness. However, let's go back here. Let me look at one thing. Let's look at one thing together. A little longer term. Yeah, you'll notice it broke here. So I would say if it can hold support between 61 and 64. But if it breaks that, next stop is 40. Let's go look at what that would be for Bitcoin itself. 70,000-ish. 70,000 ish here, and if it breaks that, it's back to 50. Right? There's not a lot of carry between in there. So interesting. I believe there's viability in the concept of blockchain technology, cryptocurrency. I don't believe that there should be 10,000 different cryptocurrencies that all don't really do the same thing or anything, and we just think they're all going to keep being worth more for just no reason, right? There's got to be some utilitarian purpose. As the regulations shift and as the dust settles, there'll be something. But for me right now, I just short-term speculations here or there, but not too much. Where were we? GE Vernova. Back down to 6 months. Yeah, see, it's just not enough yet. I don't know that I'm convinced. So choppy. I guess you could make an argument if you were looking to make a trade, but once again, go back to your posture, go back to your current risk management structure. Are you looking to make a trade, or are you carrying the right number of positions and only going to take more when the right opportunities present themselves? Gold, again, it's been looked at as a defensive position relative to inflation. So those who have been concerned about inflation have been buying gold. Got quite a bit overbought in here. So, yeah. Okay, Google. Trash right now. Not real stoked about it. Goldman Sachs. Maybe. It's sitting right there. Maybe on Monday if it catches. So how could we do that? Wait for a Heikin-Ashi. Or at least a white Heikin-Ashi. So it's not there yet, but you can see back here, it could pop and make a move. Boom, something like that. But not yet. Hood. No. Sneaky reversal. There's this consolidation. You can see it kind of did this. It's sitting in here now. Okay, if it gave me this and I got a Heikin-Ashi momentum candle here, put my stop loss initially here and then move it up and then start a trail. I would say that's a maybe, right? I could at least manage that trade well. I've got good signals to orient around. And that's something that I don't know if you guys think about that. But for me, that's an important piece of like, hey, if I were to take this trade based on what I'm seeing, how likely would I be able to tighten my stop quickly if I got a better Heikin-Ashi or anything like that? Now this one here, we ignored this first signal because it was just the gap. It was too much. But now all of a sudden, where is it? Right back down at support, possibly giving a hiccup trade. So if I got that, would I, and then this thing turned here, would I take that trade? Yeah. Yep. I'd like that trade. I would take that with like this level of risk, a stop down here. And this thing could move. I might look for it to try up to catch up in this range again, with taking some profit maybe right through this 39.5, 40 zone. Yeah? What do you guys think? If it turns, if we see some momentum popping it, that's what I would look for. And I do think this has some great momentum. I think we could get a good trade out of this. It's got high vol. You've noticed we've done a few spreads lately. Well, that's because we've got high vol. We've got to be very careful buying options. If you buy options and overpay for them in this market, it's going to be very difficult to make money with those. All right, it's gone quiet again. Again, the assumption is you're mesmerized, but if you do have questions, let me know. Howmet, I liked that. And you can see it's still kind of going. I bet we're on our second. Okay. You don't really have any big ones. You don't have any big ones, but you're kind of trying to get going here. So this tells me if you liked it, you could still love it, Miguel. You could still try for it and just be like, hey, I could put a stop in here at one, even up here to, I wouldn't do today's, but maybe here, 131.25, $3.75. I definitely want at least 10. Could I get to 145? Oh yeah. I think you could put a 3-1 still on this and then try to move the stop. I'm thinking about that for next week, actually. I've got enough to hold for now, especially when we have just increasing sense of turmoil in the political atmosphere. It's just kind of uncharted territory to some extent. 135.67. That's a good number, Miguel. I actually feel like you could run it. I mean, if you look at the current candles, that would give you more momentum. It would give you a bigger momentum candle in that regard. Yeah, you're just kind of looking at those resistance levels right there. I think that's smart. If that was the case, I'd probably put my stop more below this low than down here because you have the breakout. So I would say stop at 132.50, and that just gives you a little easier time getting a reward to risk ratio that gets in that 3-to-1 range we like to be in. Love it. Love that. IBM. Okay. Kind of a channel now. I don't know if I'm really in the mood for a channel. See if it bounces back up to the top of this. I'm not saying I'm not necessarily. This is in a bit of a hiccup after this signal. If you're in it, it's still valid. If you're not in it, you might think, hey, and again, if you were thinking about what Miguel was using, one of the techniques we talk about is using previous highs of times the buyers failed. You can see on this day they failed to get higher. They got there and then they retreated. They got there and then they retreated. Same kind of a level right there around 56, 54 here. 56, 57 here. So you might then say 56, 60. So that it has to break through that. 56, 65. Then the hiccup is good and you have the ability to see if this thing's going to make a run. And I'd be looking for 60. Right? I'd be looking for 60. As like from back here, the same kind of a bounce. So well, there's something there. What is a channel, please? A sideways trend. But actually, it's interesting because a sideways trend doesn't theoretically exist. A trend is either an uptrend or a downtrend. And then sideways would be trendless or channeling. So if I go back to IBM, you can kind of see connecting dots. It's a sideways trend, or like I said, some people who are sticklers to technical definitions are like, there's no such thing as a sideways trend. I don't care. You want to call it a sideways trend? It's a sideways trend. You want to say it's trendless, meaning it's just, I think trendless would be more indicative of a pattern, right? A pattern. Some people would call this a rectangle. A rectangle would be a chart pattern that would indicate this. I call it a channel because it's kind of channeling between, right, in this area. Choppy, press calls it. It's a semantic discussion. The question simply is, do you look at this and think, yeah, you know what, maybe if it started to bounce, I could put a stop loss down here with a target here, and do I have something? Or you could, you could put a bull put spread on here, and then if it gets up to the top and rolls over, a bear call spread here, and then you've legged into an iron condor. Things like that, right? Although if I did that, I'd actually put my spread down here and then one up here, and then I have this whole big channel that it just needs to sit in. But I don't, and actually I say I don't, and I pause myself because if we're about to drop from a 4 to a 3 or down to a 3, right into that 2 range, then I'm not going to say that. I will say that I'm going to be looking for channeling strategies, iron condors, butterfly spreads. Calendars? No. Why not calendars? Because the volatility is probably going to be too high, right? Because the volatility is going to be too high. Okay. Did I ever end up with anybody else in the... Oh, and it looks like whoever was in there left. No, they're still here. They're still here. Who's in there with me? Sandy? Yeah, okay, I knew it, you guys. If you're in the circle room, Sandy, and is that Lee? Who's that in there? I'm not really checking the comments in there, you guys. I could go look. Oh, no, it's not. Chat? Yeah, we got a little bit confused today with should you be in Zoom or Circle. I thought all instances of Circle Live Room had been scrubbed from our calendar. Apparently, I was mistaken. That's on me. I apologize. But we will rectify it. And in the meantime, both are live, but I'm really focusing on the chat in the Zoom. So I apologize, those of you. Oh, you can't see the screen. Okay, hold on. That I can fix, you guys. Got you. It was on earlier, but apparently it got shut down. Let me refresh that, and you should have it now. Okay. Only audio. Do you have screen now? Go see if you have screen. I just turned it on, so it should be displaying the IBM chart. Let me know. And I'm trying to let you guys in. I see you both coming into Circle. Okay. All right, we should be good. We should be good. Again, that's my apologies. Let me get back to my watch list. IP. If you liked it and you thought to yourself this thing could try to get back up to the top of that cup, that 60, there could be a little potential there. IWM, not looking great. Here's some new ones we have. These are consumer staples, consumer defensives. KMB. Is it breaking the flag? Not with that volume and not with that pullback. I would still say it's in the flag. If you had drawn your flag like this, you might have thought maybe so, but I would actually say I'm going to extend to this as my flag as of now. Be fluid. That's my flag. Coca-Cola. Just kind of riding up against some resistance here, right? Nothing we can do but be patient and see if it gives us something to latch onto. Kroger. That's close. That's close. If I had a better candle today, I would have been like maybe. And if I get a better candle Monday, you don't have a lot of time before earnings. I still think we could sneak a pre-earnings trade in. Sorry, I got a bit of the hiccups. This is 3.6 before market. Thursday before market. I don't know. That only gives us 3 days. And that includes confirmation. So you know what? I'm backtracking that. I think we're out of time to try to think of that. MasterCard. Okay. I think you could think about something here. Meta. Come on, Meta. You can do it. So much uncertainty in our charts. Where did that beautiful market from the fall go? NASDAQ. NDAQ NASDAQ, not NASDAQ the index. This is the exchange. Yeah, interesting. Netflix. I still think Netflix is viable, and I still think this is representative of the strength of communication services. NVIDIA doesn't look good. PLTR doesn't look good. Philip Morris in a flag, potentially setting up for next week. I think we have some setups developing in consumer staples, which bullish setups in consumer staples means potentially more defensiveness. We have to be ready to shift out of our bullish mindset into even a potentially neutral, a mildly bullish to neutral. What does that mean? It means if you're comfortable with options, you might do some neutral strategies. Like I said, iron condors, butterflies. It means taking trades on both sides. And if you're doing spreads, it creates organically. Like if you have a couple of bull calls and then the market goes up and turns over and you have some bear puts or some bear calls, then they sort of create where you just have these pockets of wanting the market to kind of grind around sideways. Those are okay, but if you're active, those are the strategies that we want to start thinking about because like we said, and I'll go through it here in just a minute after we finish the watch list. Our market posture is likely to be 1 point down, maybe even a little bit more. Contextually, this market has weakened. That's just empirically what our analysis tells us. So we have to be ready to trade that way. Be water, my friends. PRMB, still tradable bullishly. It's a new stock. It's pulled back. As long as it stabilizes, 33, 32 and a half, 33 or above, it's still valid. QQQ. Not a good week for the NASDAQ, for the tech stocks. Really got banged up. Last week they got smashed on Friday. And then it was like sell, pause, sell, pause. 3 sell days this week. Maybe even 4. Not good. No, it's only 3. It's only 3. And you know what? We'll give 1 back for the NASDAQ. I don't know if the SPY looks the same way. We'll look at that here in a second. Roblox. I don't know if it's done enough yet. That could just be a lower high. I want to see, what's next. Reddit. Nothing there yet. Rocket Labs. Revenge on Roblox. Yeah. I love it. I want it. Look at Rocket Lab. Just gapped down and rallied up, but it's having a hard time. C Ltd, C Limited, nah. Snowflake. Look how much chop there is coming out of that earnings. We got to just watch and see. SoFi. It was a really strong stock, and then all of a sudden you blink. Right? It was this strong stock, and you blink, and then you can map out 90% of the last 3 months were spent in this channel. That didn't hold. That's kind of an island that gapped up, held, gapped back down. Exhaustion gap, sometimes people call that. Although now we haven't broken this downside yet, but I don't know. At this point, I'm going to start getting rid of some things, and this is one of them. SoFi will not be traded. I don't think I would trade Snowflake either. It had like this momentum here, and then it just, now it's just stuck in the middle. Okay, get rid of it. Don't watch things just to maybe feel like, I could maybe trade that. This thing just broke support. Oh, no, that was the SPY. I always watch the SPY. SPY trying to hold. Okay, so let's talk about our market posture. this was Friday. Friday got hit, but we didn't take anything away. Now we're going to take something away. Definitely took out these lows. Good to see you, Sandy. See you Sunday. So this is going to drop 1/4 point. My long term is actually, because it's come back up here and it's close to that, I'm going to leave it. That one might actually hold now. So now that we've bounced back up a little bit, we're holding this trend line. Let's leave it alone. So that's a little better. So we're down 1/4 point so far. Let's go to volume. I mean, clearly volume, right? Clearly volume. So we're going to have 1, 2, skip 1, and there. And then we're going to text note there. Text note there. Text note. Okay, and well, we need to change you. Nope. To a B. All set for the Sunday now. What does this tell us? That we have a pocket that's going to be with us for a while. We have a pocket that's going to be with us for 2 or 3 weeks. It's a 4-to-1 pocket. 4 sellers, 1 buyer. And you can see, what does our sanity check tell us now? Right? This was false hope right here, and we're now down in this area. So I'm going to say that we've got a one over there to the left that's getting a little stale, but this new pocket here, to me, tell me if you agree or disagree, is a minus 0.5. Right now we are a minus 0.25. So yeah, I'm going to lose 1/4 here, lose 1/4 here. Major market might hold, but I think sector rotation is going to drop again. And then let's go look at the VIX. So I thought we might get to the 2s, but we might only drop to like 3.25. That would still be, slightly bullish, right? That would still be a slightly bullish prospect. IMC, new to the room. Welcome, El Jago. Seeing your work screen for the first time. How do I use the stochastic slow? So that is a stochastic slow 733. So even though it says slow, quote unquote, it's actually a pretty quick indicator because it's a 7-day, 3-day combination. So it's going to be responsive. I'm looking at that. It's a great question. I'm looking at that to identify overbought and oversold conditions. It's last though. I mean, it's right. I'll go back here in just a second. Let's go to the VIX, in fact. And let's go. We finished the watch list, right? Or did I totally ADD out and miss it? Oh, I'm on the VIX. We have a couple more stocks to look at. So right now, you'll notice I'm up here at this overbought zone. So yeah, am I thinking this is a place that this has a potential to reverse? Absolutely. Does that mean I'm hey, I'm going to put a bunch of bullish trades on? No, because I'm at a, this is an area where it could be escalating further. I'm holding bullish trades because yeah, this could definitely come down. But I'm going to always look at trend first, support and resistance second. Then I'm going to identify my candles. So that's going to help me understand momentum, buyers and sellers, who's in control. And then I'm going to be looking for confirmation at my oscillator. So that's a momentum type indicator down there. Hopefully that helps. And then the last thing down here is implied volatility. That doesn't help me with what direction I think the stock's going to go. That helps me once I think it's going to go a certain direction with how do I want to trade it from an options standpoint. So good question. I hope that makes sense as a response. Okay, let's keep going in here. Where were we? We need to still look at Walmart. Okay, so yeah, I actually, as I look at this, I kind of feel like I could have put an alert on that. I just wasn't feeling it today. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this one. Let's go into these Heiken Ashi candles. And there you can see what I'm talking about, that we're kind of moving out of the transition into that momentum candle. Could have put a trade on, put a stop underneath yesterday's candle. And then what are we looking to do? We're looking to catch one of these or one of these. Sometimes you catch one of these, but you know, anybody take that Walmart trade? I kind of took my eye off that one today until now. I'm like, wait a second, I like that. And there's 9 minutes left. So I'm not going to try to rush or force anything, but I am going to, maybe we can even look at a trade setup on Sundays. That's not something we've done before, but I'd love to maybe take a peek at a trade setup on Sunday, kind of build it out and then say, what would it need to do for us to then take this trade on Monday morning? I think that sounds like a great exercise. So we're going to do that. XLB, basic materials. Nothing really there. Actually, I'm going to just skip down to XPEV. A little pullback on XPEV. That's a high flyer for sure. I still think it might have one more leg in it. If it has a nice looking pullback, we'll see. Okay, let's go talk about record keeping. This week we were working on the log aspect. The log aspect. So what am I doing here? And you'll notice up at the top, if you download this, there's all these little red corners. Right? System. What is the trading system or advisory service? The source. So if you subscribe to something, you'll put that. So you might put MWG for an alert. If you built it yourself, then you would identify which of your systems. If you only have one, then call it your name. So you know that was my trade. If you have a bounce and a breakout, then identify, was it a bounce trade or a breakout trade, right? Because we want to be able to, isolate and say, hey, which of these are working well and which do I need to do better with? That's system. Trade type, it says options. Bull call, bull put, long call. Actually, if that, you could just say call, because here you're going to say long or short. Did you buy it or did you sell it? If you got a credit, if you sold to open, it's short. If you got if you paid for it, it's long. What date did you put the trade on? What was your price? How many contracts? That's it. That doesn't take long. If you make a habit of doing it when you put the trade on, like the night of, where you're like, hey, I'm going to do a habit in my evening routines that any trades I open, I'm going to put the opening parameters into my to my log. Then as you close, first close, 3 things. What was the price? How many did you exit? And what was the date? Second exit. What was the price? How many did you exit? What was the date? How much commission did you pay? Did anything happen on that trade that you would want to know or understand a month from now that you shouldn't think, oh, I'll remember? You won't. A week later, you're not going to remember. You'll think you'll remember. But if you really want to remember, put that here. So this, to me, If I were to, is your journal? How did you feel? Were you surprised? Were you caught off guard? Did you make a mistake that you recognize? Right? What do you need to know about that? The more you trade, the less you'll have comments. Or you might, in the beginning, you might comment on everything, and then it just starts to slow down, and then eventually you just have less and less. What does this lead to? This, with real data. Let me see if I have one up. Okay, this is a little behind, but this is just kind of showing you like with our alerts. And if you come in here, you'll see it gives you some great looking data. Percent winners, percent losers, average win, average loss. Again, there's some losers in here now. So this is going to be dialed back a little bit and a little bit closer to this back here, which makes sense. I'm not expecting an expectancy of 325%. I would love if I could maintain an expectancy of 72% ongoing, right? So, this is where it just sort of helps you understand why I call it a dashboard. Are things running the way they're supposed to? Is it running hot? Is it underperforming? And you're like, whoa, hey, why is my expectancy down at 8%? 8%, yeah. Or if it, God forbid, goes negative. Negative expectancy, that's gambling, right? Everything you do in Las Vegas has a negative expectancy. Everything in the casino has a negative expectancy for you. The house has the positive expectancy. So that's why it's so important that we maintain eyes on that expectancy number. Kelly, a little less so, but that's going to help us to understand how we need to optimize our levels of risk. Profit factor's new. I need to kind of talk about that. That was one that some guys introduced to me. I've never really used that one, but I'm open to it. I'm an expectancy guy from way back. But profit factor, we'll talk about that, actually. We'll do a working session. We'll talk about profit factor. And then we'll go from there. So you don't want to have to do this math. You want it done for you. You want to just read this and process it. That's what we're going to talk about next week. This week, you got to do the work to get the numbers. So if you want all that data, you got to come in here and make sure that you have all of this. So anyways, all right. Questions, comments, or concerns? 3 minutes before we go. Let's go take a look at the SPY one more time. I think we'll have some trades. Oh, look at that rally right at the end. Huh? Here we go. Oh, boom, 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 boom. That's nice for those of us holding bullish trades, right? We're hoping to see that pay off. Not quite as much, but a nice little move on Meta, getting up 1.5%. Okay. Good to see. Nice little spike on TPR, up above 1% now. Certainly we like to see that carry into the weekend, but I don't think that's going to fundamentally change my perspective on the market. But I do still think that there are bullish opportunities developing that we can get into next week, as long as the momentum then reestablishes itself in a bullish fashion early next week. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Once again, my apologies for the confusion on where we were meeting today. That caught me off guard as much as it caught you off guard. Is the dashboard auto-linked to the first spreadsheet? Yes. Yes. Walmart trade I like, LJGO. The dashboard is all automated to the log. Those two tabs are interconnected. We have both an option log and a stock log. In our downloads, just go over to the circle space, looking for our group downloads. You can go find all those resources there to download and save and have templates and whatever else you need in there. So I hope you enjoyed your first time in here. You're just kind of got thrown into the deep end on a funky day, but Sunday's a great day. If you're new, make sure you get there Sunday. Sunday's our day where it's nice, it's relaxed. We orient ourselves to the market. We really look at the internals of what's what. And then we construct our watch list for the next week. What are the trades we're thinking about? Really make sure that we start the week off on the right note. It's good to see everybody. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I've got great weather here. High 50s, sun, amazing. Can't wait to go spend a little time outside. It's great to see you. As always, happy trading.
Recording stop.